Secret all the crazy spending that they've been doing, mainly federal level, these stimulus packages and bailouts. It's got to stop. Oh, I was very unhappy last November. They need to stop spending our money, let us spend it how we want to. And throwing money at a problem isn't going to fix it.
So would you like a flat tax rate if you had a choice?
Yeah, if I had a choice, I'd say yes.
Okay. You wouldn't want a progressive tax rate then, where the rich get taxed more?
No, not at all. That's discouraging people from getting ahead in life.
Would you like it where the poor got taxed more and the rich got taxed less?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. So would it surprise you to know that our overall tax rate favors the rich right now in Minnesota?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's time for them to step off, leave my money to me, I work hard for it, I want to spend it. I'd let the people spend their own money and spend as little of it as possible.
And so, if you were going to tax, would you go for a flat tax?
Like 28 cents on every dollar. 23 cents? Yeah, flat tax.
You know, that's kind of a new thing that I've been learning about over the last, couple months. I've been reading more and more on it. It sounds pretty interesting. I'd want to look into it a heck of a lot more, though.
By the government right now. My grandchildren are $30,000 in debt, and they haven't even had a job yet. Their children are in debt, and they aren't even thought of yet. And my son, her brother, and her uncle are fighting for our freedoms. So they need to stop taxing us. And I do believe in the fair tax, or flat tax, actually. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm proud to be an American. You know, the VA has actually saved my dad's life. He's had a heart attack, a few, and he wishes that he would have known about his right to actually get VA hospital benefits right out of the Navy. He's only been doing it for about 5 years, and if he'd have known, he'd have done it right afterwards. And my boyfriend appreciates that he's a diabetic, and he pays $7 per prescription, and if he wasn't getting it through the VA, it would be costing him hundreds of dollars a month versus maybe only $40 a month for his medication. So our family has had really good experiences with the VA.
Is that the people don't want these bailouts, and they're going ahead and doing it anyhow to Wall Street, and they're going to take our money to give to these rich people, and they're bailing them out. It's wrong. It's not right. Because the last time they did this is they started stealing our money. It ended up in a revolution. If you notice the sign over on the left, it says it's time to water the tree of liberty. The tree of liberty can only be watered with blood every once in a while. And it's sad, but I think that's where we're going. We're going to have a revolution again, and it's not going to be one of these peaceful ones. Well, probably not until our whole financial system collapses. The Federal Reserve, paper money has always failed. When finally the dollar goes down to being what it's really worth, a piece of paper, and has its intrinsic value of, what a piece of paper is worth, like happened in Germany in 1923. Till that happens, I think most of the people will continue on. They really don't care, because they're getting paid. But if they can't feed their families and lose their homes, it's over. That's when they'll finally figure out, and they'll start listening to people and maybe actually get off their asses and do something. But they won't do nothing now. They're both the same. There's no difference from from the Republicans. You get a war machine that spends all our money. From the Democrats, you get a socialism machine that spends all our money. What's the difference?
And tell me about Ron Paul's H.R. 1207.
It's his bill to audit the Federal Reserve. At least make it so we can know what the hell they're doing with our money.
The Federal Reserve has never been audited by any government agency or Congress. And what we're really trying to show you is that it's a private corporation, and that's why.
So that's the basis of taxation without representation?
Correct. The reason why you have to go through a whole diatribe to understand the whole situation, but if you know the Federal Reserve is private, not a government agency, that should tell you something.
So their spending does not have to be authorized by Congress, right?
Well, they control the money. They control the purse strings. They control the currency. Therefore, they control us. So we got to put them down, put the Federal Reserve down, the central bank system down. And go back to the congressionally or the constitutionally approved currency. Congress is supposed to watch that, not some private corporation. And keep it within the government, within the people. Today that's not the case. So.
Thank you.
Well, it's against wasteful spending in Minnesota. This is state level.
Good.
I didn't determine it. Citizens Against Government Wasted.
Okay.
And that's a nonpartisan watchdog website that goes after politicians and their pork projects. Like, why should we as citizens of the state of Minnesota be taxed to finance charitable events, so to speak, as a Russian bear exhibit, say, at the zoo that costs $20 million? Why is that money not being raised privately, and why are we being forced as citizens to pay for things that we can't write off on our taxes? Why are we paying for a new Twin Stadium?
So you would stand up to all these fans and tell them that the government shouldn't finance their hobbies?
Absolutely. In a minute. I'm not for a new Viking stadium in here. Carl Pohlad is a billionaire, multi-bazillionaire. Yeah. Well, his kids still have money, and the Pohlads always advocate for higher taxes to fund things too. That's kind of funny. So, no, I just think that the government's place is to provide essentials for people, not pork or wasteful spend. Oil companies, the most profit being taken off of a gallon of gas is at the federal level and the state level. The state level is 28 cents a gallon or 28.5 cents a gallon. At the federal level, it's 18 some odd cents a gallon. If you add up those two, the government makes far more profit off a gallon of gas than does the oil company.
Well, I thought the oil companies made record profits.
That's because they sell a lot of it, and a lot of things are made with oil-based products. I'm talking about fuel. The oil companies on a gallon of fuel, processed gasoline, make less than a 10% profit per gallon. How much does it, if you add up the taxes, if you look at what the government takes, it's far more than 10%.
I just feel that the American dollar has gone down in value because we've overspent. And now the Canadian dollar is worth more than the American dollar. That's what our sign is all about.
I don't mind paying my fair share, but it should be earned, not just taken from me and given to others.
I already made politicians mad. Go figure. They came out, they wanted to talk. I told them this was about we the people.